Well, folks, I want to welcome you again to this Business Acceleration webinar series. This is JG, the author of Messy Manager. I've been your host throughout this series. We've done now, this is the fifth part in this series, and we got two more experts coming on next week and the week after that. And then we're also going to have Ross Libby back on as well. And today I'm just absolutely honored to have people all over the world on this call and on this telecast to listen to a guy that I've been working with now for the last 6 or 7 months. And the guy is a real all-star. His name is Jean Reeves, and he is the author of this soon-to-be-released book, Money Myths. What you know can hurt you. I've listened to this presentation. To be honest with you, it really hit home. A couple of the points that Jean brings up in his presentation really hit home for me because I was making some of those very fundamental mistakes. And being a young guy like I am and being in the position I'm in, I'm able to make a real difference. So I listened to the advice that Jean put forward, and it's made a huge difference in my bank account. It's made a huge difference in my investment portfolio. And to be honest with you, it's just changed in many parts of my life. So I owe a lot of gratitude to Jean Reeves, and that's why I wanted to have him on this call. He's the author, like I said, of this book, Money Myths, and I highly respect this guy, not only because, he's got all the credentials and he's got every initial after his name you could want, but he talks a good game, but more importantly, he walks the talk. That's what's important about this guy. He does it day in and day out, and he manages a lot of money. Millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for his clients. I won't tell you the exact amount, but I can tell you it's in the tens and tens of millions of dollars. It's absolutely powerful information. He's got a great presentation. So without further ado, I'm going to mute myself and let my good friend Jean Reeves take over. Jean, are you there?
Yes.
Excellent.
Can you hear me, Mike? Thanks, Jean-Guy. It's a very nice introduction. I hope I can live up to the expectations. Welcome to everybody tonight. I'm glad to be with you, and we'll spend the next 30 to 50 minutes together. The plan is for the presentation to run roughly 30 minutes. Then there's a good 10, 15 minutes or more of a question period. So please feel free to send in your questions through the chat box as we go through the presentation. Jean-Guy will monitor that, and we can review the questions at the end. My name is Jean Reeves. As Jean-Guy mentioned it, I wrote this book, Money Myth, coming out in the next month or so, basically because over the last 25 years, I've come from the financial planning world, and about 15 years ago, I decided to add the specialty of portfolio management to it. That gives me the benefit of managing the investments within the perspective of an overall plan, taking into account the tax aspects of all the investments and being aware of the traps and the benefits that you people can take advantage of. Mostly because I think that every entrepreneur, business owner, or people that are in business for themselves are a mile away of every Canadian in terms of opportunities. So congratulations to you all if you're in that category. You've taken the risk, but you certainly are in a position to reap the benefits of those risks. So without further ado, the money myth, what are these? Well, it's part of an overall plan and process that you can see on your screen here. I call it your money map. Basically, they're pieces of a puzzle that go together. The myths are first things that we have to basically undo in order to relearn what's real, what's right. Then we can move on to the other pieces, but we'll just run through them very quickly. They're not the topic of tonight's talk. First, we have to deal with that, and that's the first thing that you have to either get in line or reduce in order to start moving ahead. Once you have that under control, you can start adding savings. Obviously, as you invest, taxes become more and more important. Business is very important. As I said, if you have not considered that, that may be an idea that you should entertain, because either owning a corporation or running your own business opens the door to all kinds of tax planning and tax saving strategies. Obviously, as you accumulate during your life, investments will become more important, and then you have to make sure that you're not quote-unquote taken for a ride, and therefore the title Stop Swimming with Sharks. Get a second opinion. That's the theme that will come back tonight quite often. Get an independent second opinion on ideas. Whenever it sounds like it's too good to be true, it usually is. Obviously, insurance is a big thing, and then retirement planning. We all hear about that. But hey, I want to concentrate on the myths. There's tons of myths, enough to write books, as you can see. I'm sure that you've run into that, and being aware of it or not, you're entertaining different myths about money. Everybody has a relationship with money. Some of us good relationship, some of us not so good. I specialize to advise people that own their own businesses, and I always have 3 questions for business owners. You take a lot of financial risk running your company. Yes. You spend a lot of investment, effort, and time taking care of that business, those employees, or those clients. Yes, obviously. My question is, how is your business taking care of you? And that's why I'm here, to work with you to make sure that the business you're building is actually taking care of you in the long term. Now, in order to do that, we have to debunk some myth, some preconceived idea about money that everybody's carrying around. So we'll just run through a few tonight, give you a taste of what it is, and when we get to the full seminar, you'll get a lot more in-depth view of that later this fall. What's a myth? Well, a myth is an idea that is entertained by more and more people. It is widely held. As it is widely held, just because it's widely held, does it mean that it's true? Not necessarily. Urban myth, all kinds of myth, but obviously money myth, there is so many of those because everybody is with money. Myth number 1, let's get to it right away. Cashing in the million, and that one is very specific to company owner entrepreneurs. If you get into business, it's because you want to, at some point, cash in, build a comfortable financial independence, however you want to define that for yourself. But we basically all have that dream of selling the business, selling the corporation, cashing in the millions. It's a bit of a myth in the sense that I just want to make sure that sometimes that's not exactly how things unfold, and I've lived through that scenario, and that's why I've dedicated myself to helping business owners. The case of Mr. Smith, obviously it's not his name, but he was a client of mine that had a trucking business. He was going along fine. We started doing business. He was older, close to in his 60s, and at some point he pulled out some money of his RSP to finance the company. And then that's when I started worrying. And one day he called me and he said, well, I'm selling my company. We're going to close it and everything. Fine, except the selling scenario turned into a closing scenario. So instead of being able to sell his company with huge profit and a comfortable retirement, what he didn't realize is that he had not trained a key employee to take over his role, and all his business, 80% of his contracts were concentrated with one large company. So if he was to disappear, this large company had all kinds of companies, all kinds of trucking companies knocking on their door to get this big contract. So unfortunately, it turned into a closing scenario. So myth number 1, it's not automatically millions that are lying at the end of the rainbow. Therefore, the importance of taking care of yourself today. And that leads into myth number 1. When do you start? Well, you start today. You cannot start yesterday, but you certainly don't start tomorrow, and you don't start, quote unquote, when you'll have money. Just start today. Even if you start small, the most important step is to start. And what will help you, or what certainly is a great motivation to get started, is the power of compounding, or as I call it, the magic of compounding, because it is absolute magic. It's a mathematical fact, but time is working for you. So we hear a lot of uncertainties about savings and investments and keeping your job or not. As a matter of fact, being entrepreneurs, you don't really have to worry about that. You're already focused on success of your business. You're making your own job. But if you just rely on the magic of compounding starting today, what will happen is time, not high returns, not hitting a home run, but time will take care of you and your savings. Let's have a quick look at this. Let's compare two of my clients here. And you'll see that I wish they were my client. Let's start with Mr. Cloney here. We hear a lot about him with the Toronto Film Festival going on right now. He's the example of the serious guy that actually puts his mouth where his money where his mouth is, and he starts. And what he does is that he invests $2,000 a year for 10 years, from 1990. I'm sorry, for 20 years. So $1,000 a year for 20 years, 20,000 from 1990 to 2009. Well, this will compound to $76,000. So just by starting with $1,000 a year for the first 20 years, you multiply your money by almost 4 times. Now compare that to my other client here, Ms. Jolie, that looks really like a party girl, and for the first 10 years, 1990 to 2000, she just enjoys life and spends the money that she's making. But she says to George, don't worry, because I'll catch up to you. Instead of putting $1,000 a year, I'll put $4,000 a year for that 10 years, so I'll put in twice the money you put in, so I'll certainly catch up to you. The disappointment is that she starts so late that compounding doesn't work for her. It starts slow and it accelerates. It is exponential. So when you start, it's the second 10 years that will give you the return. And so her 40,000 only accumulates to 59. So you see the huge difference here. That's the magic of compounding. But you need to accumulate a lot of years for it to work for you in the second 10 years. So myth number 2, get started today. Number 3, that's one that I hear often, but my advisor has a scoop. So like for Angelina, you're going to hit that home run and make it to accumulate a lot. Well, the 2 reasons why this doesn't work. Number 1, it's illegal. It's plain illegal. Even if you have a scoop, securities law says that you're not supposed to share it, because then you give advantage to one investor over the other. And there are very strict rules everywhere to prevent that. So it's a huge myth that you can take advantage of it. And even if you do, and it actually works, it's only luck, because you can't repeat it 2, 3, and 10 times. You may hit lucky one time, but it will not work for 10 times. What does it take? It takes hard work. Very simple, as Einstein to understand that. So these are the 3 main myths that I wanted to cover with you tonight. If these talk to you and you realize that I've been going on with these preconceived ideas, and now you realize that maybe it's not, it doesn't correspond exactly to the financial reality of today's world, well, get that second opinion I was talking about. and you'll have an opportunity to do that at the end. Obviously, in the last few years, the financial world has been rocked. We've seen Ponzi schemes in New York City, the biggest in the world. We've seen financial institutions that we thought were going to take care of us and were there to stay, that have been put in danger by basically reckless management. Unfortunately, especially in the U.S. market, there's a combination of laws, old laws, that combine themselves to encourage over leveraging, and we know the result of that. So it's been really economic or financial earthquake. The result of that is that most investors are really unsure. Nobody knows who to trust anymore. We're constantly bombarded with financial news. The amount of news has exploded that we receive, the amount of media information, the amount of information we receive has exploded, but it hasn't really helped us see more clearly. What it does is it's actually a bit more confusing. And that confusion translates into different polls that have been, in recent polls that have been conducted over the last 5 to 10 years. One of the biggest questions is, are you 100% satisfied with your financial advisor? Well, 9 people out of 10 in the U.S. answered no. They are not sure that the person that they have in front of them telling them the story is actually telling them the truth or taking into account the overall situation that they're in to give them the best advice possible. So a lot of uncertainty out there. 8 out of 10 wealthy individuals are actually reevaluating their relationship with financial advisors. What does that say? People, and you most probably feel the same way, want that second opinion to validate what they're getting the first time around. Some people decide to go it alone. I'm not sure that's very wise. You know, running your businesses, that the world is getting more and more specialized. You're getting more and more competition from various places and various people that come into your field, but your field is most probably getting more and more specialized. And therefore, you have to concentrate. The key to your success is to concentrate on your field, become the expert, and be aware of all the different opinions that apply to your field. Well, running money is a field of business, just like whatever business you're running. It could be a fitness center, it could be insurance business, it could be renovation and building. Running money is a business like any other, and therefore it's a full-time job. Going it alone means that you're trying to do 2 jobs at the same time, running your business and running your money. I don't think that's very wise. I think that the success is in the team around you. What you need is a team of experts to surround you and come in to play, to come in on the ice with you, to use that image at different times, depending where the puck is and depending what kind of expert you need. You may need an accountant, you may need a tax specialist, you may need an investment specialist like myself, or you may need an actuary. So depending on your needs, a marketing expert like Jean-Guy and Jerry Roberts to help you with the sales and the publicity and the marketing of your enterprise to get more clients. So the key to your success is really to surround yourself with a whole team of different specialists and to call on each at the right time when you need them. Going it alone is the opposite of that. So I don't think that it is the solution to debunking some myths and having and building a good relationship with your money. Unfortunately, technology has destroyed the barrier to entry in this field. You can go on the internet, open a trading account, give your money to discount brokers, and buy and sell investments yourself. Is that better? Do you know that it's really the best thing for you? Do you know the different tax implication of the different types of investments? Did you know that you pay half the tax rate on Canadian dividend income than you do on interest? Maybe not. Maybe yes. But if you don't, you may have the kind of investment that will give you a taxable income outside your RRSP, while you could shelter that income inside the RRSP. Lots of examples like that. So as I was saying, since the world is getting more specialized, you need the expertise to make sure that you're going in the right direction. And doing it alone, yes, the access is easy and it's cheap, but I don't think you will only get your money's worth. And if it's cheap, it's not worth a whole lot for you. You're much better off to hire the expert and go run your business and make more money. As I was saying, reevaluating their relationship with their advisors, what's coming out through the surveys is that 8 out of 10 people in the U.S. are currently dissatisfied with their current expert. So it says that people are looking for that second opinion. I'm sure you are as well, and that's why I'm here. 9 out of 10 would welcome a second opinion as an alternative and as an answer to that insecurity that is so rampant today. If you're getting bids to do renovations, you don't want only one. So you want a second opinion. What I do is I'm working at a firm that is called Macquarie Private Wealth. It is an independent, it is owned by Macquarie Financial Holding, that is an Australian-based multinational based in Sydney, Australia. It is the size of our Canadian banks, similar to CIBC and TD Bank and Bank of Montreal. But as a full-service brokerage house, we have access to all products. And therefore, we do not have a conflict of interest being captive of a specific company like some mutual fund companies. So what I do is give you that second opinion that is unbiased, because it doesn't make a difference to me if you choose one thing or another. I work on a fee base, I get the same fee, and I may be paid even to tell you that the thing to do today is to do nothing and wait it out. So you can see that there is no conflict of interest. It is a fixed rate fee. And so it is an unbiased second opinion, and I'd be glad to. Now, Jerry has asked me to, because I know him since a long time, he's asked me to offer this free of charge to people listening tonight. Normally, a 1-hour consultation is actually 2 hours of work, and usually that's $750 of value to anybody coming into the door wanting an opinion to review their full situation. Now, for people on the line tonight and people coming to the seminar later this fall, that will be a complimentary consultation. So you either can call me at this number, or at the end of the presentation you'll have the email address, and I will offer you that consultation free of charge at $750 value. So that is, I think, crucial today. If you were to get a life-threatening diagnosis from your doctor, I don't think you would take the first opinion if it is that serious. Dealing with your money is the same thing. It is that serious. And you don't have the time or the expertise to deal with your money. What the time and expertise that you have is to run your business. So do that and surround yourself with the expert that you need to address that insecurity. If, as I mentioned before, for people that were not online when we were talking about that, if you're doing major renovation to your house, and that's instinctive, everybody's doing it, you always get 2 or 3 different bids. Why don't you do the same thing with your money? You know, you have there 2 or 3 bids. So you get that second opinion. And that's basically what I do with everybody. And I've been doing it for over 25 years. Here's the email address. You can simply email second opinion to my email address at Macquarie, and it will be my pleasure to set up an appointment with you and review your situation and give you that second opinion free of charge, $750 of value, the equivalent of about 2 hours of work, and I'd be glad to develop a relationship and work on a long-term basis with you. Hopefully you've seen that I can give you some value by debunking some of the myths that stick to us through our financial life. Believe me, if you change those ideas, you will really get forward with your money, and you will be quote-unquote at peace. You will have a good relationship with your money, and the day you start having a good relationship with your money, what happens? You start concentrating on running your business, and from that day on, you're going to start making more money because you're concentrating on the right thing. My pleasure to be with you tonight, people. We've actually run through a bit faster than expected. We did it in 25 minutes. What I will do now, Jean-Guy, if you want to come on the line, and we'll see if there's any questions.
That's great, Jean. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for that. You know, I think it's so true, all the myths that you identify, and I would highly encourage everyone. I mean, you know, his consultation, he values it at you know, $150, but it's really priceless because he's absolutely right. I mean, you wouldn't hesitate to get 3, 4, 5 bids. I mean, some people shop for a pen, and they make sure that they check 17 different prices. But when it comes to their money, they'll go with the first person available, which is crazy. So, I mean, Jean Reeves is an absolute pro. He's actually even willing to take some questions. So if anybody has questions, feel free to send them along in the chat box, and I'll make sure that I ask Jean those questions for you. If there's none, that's okay. We'll make sure we continue. One of the questions that I do have, Jean, I hope I'm not sort of putting you on the spot here, but just give me your opinion on, you know, what's happening right now. A lot of people are seeing a lot of volatility in the markets, as well as they're probably. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he says my friggin' mutual funds, they keep going lower and lower and lower. Do you think this is a good time? Like if someone's sitting there at home thinking, you know, right now is probably not the right time to go see Jean Reeves, what do you say to that?
A few things here. First, it's never the wrong time to get a second opinion. So today is the right time. So to answer your question, maybe today is not the right time. Absolutely not. What you should do is send that email right now. Just write second opinion, no obligation. Be free to walk away, no pressure. It'll be my pleasure. And that's really what I enjoy doing. That's the enjoyable part of my job, is meeting people, discovering new situations, and trying to help you get the best out of it.
Right.
In reference to your mutual fund comment from your friend, well, that talks to another myth, and that one is well, I'm in a mutual fund and my money manager will take me out of the market if things get bad. I've heard that for the last 20 years, and it is so wrong, because people do not realize that if you bought, and especially true with an equity mutual fund, what's the mandate of that manager if the mutual fund you bought has a mandate to invest in Canadian equities? The mandate of that manager is to stay invested in Canadian shares. He may have up to 10 or 20% cash in his fund. That's his leeway. But his job is to stay minimum 80% in equities. So you have to find that out. And that may be is why your friend's mutual fund's going down, because he's not realizing that if the manager sells all his investments, he's actually going to lose his job, because his boss are going to tell him, what are you doing? You're supposed to be a Canadian equity manager, and you're supposed to be 80% in Canadian shares. So he's going to try to invest in shares that go down less, but when the tide goes out, all boats go down. And so that's a big, big myth about the mutual fund industry, and it's not specific to one company or one manager. It's just the reality of that industry, but people don't realize it, and so it creates a lot of pain. And that's why you need an independent eye that can tell you, well, this is what's happening here, and maybe you should think about having a bit more of an active management of the money. I'm not saying in and out every week, every month, but there are long trends that can easily be identified, and you can at least minimize the pain of going through these difficult periods.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's great. I think that's exactly what people, what my friend needs to hear. Another question that just came in is, how quickly, so this is what the person says, how quickly can I meet with him? Is there a cost to the second opinion? I know you mentioned it was free, but I think maybe because you talked about it being $150, that's for other people. The people listening to this live and in the replay, they're going to get it for free. Is that right, Jean Reeves?
Correct, yes. You and Jerry have asked me to do that, and it's my pleasure to do it, because we've been working together for a long time. And I know that running a business is a tough thing, so I'm waiving the charge for that second opinion, absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm guaranteeing a 1-hour meeting, and if we identify a specific need, it may be followed by a phone conversation to get you the answers that you need. So absolutely no cost to it. How long do you have to wait? It's just a scheduling issue. My business sometimes takes me between the two cities, Montreal and Toronto, but knowing ahead, usually within a week, we absolutely can work out something, and we always have the meeting. If not in the next few days, it's within a week.
Fantastic. That's great. That's great to hear. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Jean Reeves, I want to thank you for being here. I'm sure everyone is going to grab a copy of your book as soon as it comes out. Everyone, I urge you to email this address right now. In the subject line, put second opinion. Whether you're listening to this live or whether it's in a replay, email this now and get the second opinion. The pain of managing your money doesn't have to be there. You don't have to watch your mutual funds and your stocks go down. There are other options, and there are experts. Whether you're being helped right now or not, a second opinion is for you. So again, I want to repeat that. Whether you have someone that's helping you now or you don't, even if you don't, you still want to get the second opinion. It's absolutely priceless, and he's offering this for free. So I urge you to get this right away. Email that address with second opinion in the subject line. Put your contact information in the body of the email, and Jean Reeves, his assistants, will get back to you and set something up right away. Thanks, Jean Reeves. I appreciate this, and everyone, thanks for tuning in. I've got people from all over the world on this webcast, and I'm sure they appreciated this as much as I did. Jean, you provided some really powerful insights, and these myths are just so critical. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great night. Good health, good wealth.
My pleasure. Thanks.